Okay, can I have everyone's attention, please? We're running just a little bit behind time, so we're going to go ahead and get things started. The young people will still be cleaning your tables and what have you while I'm speaking, but you're not going to miss anything. I guarantee you that. My name's Terry Wright, and once again, I'm very proud to be here on nearly 3 decades of the Taylorville High School Sports Boosters Hall of Fame Selection Committee. And the first thing we're going to do is introduce the other members of the committee. We do want to take note, though, that we lost one member over the past year. We want to mention him, Frankie Blanchfield, who was a friend of all the athletes at Taylorville High School for many years. We want to note that Frankie passed away and he's been missed. The other person that's retired as of tonight's meeting isn't able to be here tonight, but he was certainly instrumental in the formation of the committee and in his service to Taylorville High School in athletics, and that's Don Williams. Don will be listed as our honorary member for some time, as a high school basketball coach, as the athletic director, and as a teacher, of course, at Taylorville High School. Before I get into the introduction of the other members, though, we do want to thank Spring Garden for the job they did on catering. Let's give them a big hand. And of course, let's again thank Chris Rebecco and the kids of the Honor Society for helping serve tonight. Thank them. Now, pardon me if I have to use my cheat sheet and hold it up a little bit close, but over the years I've found out that if I don't write things down, I'm going to forget somebody. And I certainly don't want to do that tonight. So the first person I want to introduce as a member, though, I'm going to ask them to stand. Hold your applause, though, until I get all the way through, and then we'll give a round of applause for all of them. Replacing Don Williams on the committee is a person that, or an athlete, I should say, that everyone will remember, I'm sure, Hall of Famer in her own right, Chris Aldridge. So Chris, if you'd stand if you're in attendance, right wherever you are. Other members, just stand as I call your name. Mark Stevenson. Mark has been a member for many, many years, a Hall of Famer, an athlete at Taylorville High School. Bob Rare. Bob, are you here tonight? Chuck Martin. I know Chuck's here. Christy McCullough McTaggart. I know Christy's here. Jeb Odom. Here I'm skipping names already. Lee Mateer. Jason Hadley. And the principal of Taylorville High School, who you'll hear from shortly, Matt Hutchison. Now, did I skip over anybody on my list? I hope I didn't. I make number 10, and I'm one of the 2 remaining charter members of the committee. So that's the 10. Let's give them a round of applause for those people. The reason I introduced just 10 is because the 11th member is more than just a member of the committee. To me, he's the heart and soul of the committee. He's a co-founder of the committee. He's the chairman of the committee. He's the researcher for all the different nominees that we've had over the years. He compiles all the information, puts it all together, makes sure that we all have it in our hands when he calls our meetings, when we get together, look over all the nominees, and then the meeting when we vote on everybody. He's in charge of the catering, the dinner, the banquet. I think he even has to sweep up when we're done here tonight. But he's quite a gentleman and has always been there for Taylorville High School. And it's David Hicksonbaugh. David? David will take over this portion, and then, of course, we'll have Matt with the introduction of the inductees.
Thank you, Terry. First of all, I want to thank you all for being out here this evening. It's always a great time to prepare for this, and you never know what's going to happen. And obviously different things happen, and we work through them, and I appreciate your patience tonight and helping us get through this meal this evening. It's not the way we planned it, but it's the way it was, and I appreciate your being a part of helping me get us through it. I just want to give a little background on the history of the Hall of Fame. It started in 1995, and it kind of came out of the idea that Bill Likens, a friend of mine, and his son, and my son Matthew, played basketball here at Taylorville High School back in the early 90s. And we were in the Apollo Conference back then, and the Apollo Conference at that time, we had to go to Paris and Robinson, and if you've ever taken those trips, it's more than an hour on the road. And so Bill and I, as we would go to the games, driving the 2.5 to 3 hours there and back each day, each trip, we had a lot to talk about. And one of the things we talked about was the history of Taylorville. Both of us, I graduated in 1963, Bill and I did, and that's kind of in the middle of the history of Taylorville High School athletics. And we got to see Bill Ridley, or at least knew Bill Ridley, and we. Johnny Orr would come back and we would know who he was. Then we moved right along, and you saw Bruce Aiken and people like that, Allison. And so we thought, somebody needs to do something to recognize the great players, the great athletes that came through Taylorville High School, and try to get a connection between the kids that are going to high school now and competing year in and year out, and knowing where the heritage came from. Why is it a great day to be a tornado? And the best way to become a tornado is to know who came before you. And that was the basic idea behind this. We wanted to honor people who were great athletes, but also great people. And as we found out that the two kind of coincided most of the time. With the people who were great athletes, you looked at them later in life, and they became very successful in whatever endeavor they chose. So that's the kind of the history behind it. So right now we have 133 members into the Hall of Fame. We have 23 teams in the Hall of Fame. And in order to be selected, those people being selected tonight, the process is, first of all, you have to be nominated. And anybody can nominate anybody, and once you're nominated, you're always nominated. Now, part of the problem with that is, as Terry mentioned, if I nominated Joe Smith to be in the Hall of Fame, and that's all that you give to the committee, that's not going to get very far, because we need to know why Joe Smith belongs in the Hall of Fame. And so the more information we are given during that application period, the better chance they would have to finding out we know who they are. And as Terry mentioned, I do a lot of researching, and I really enjoy it, to be honest with you. To go back and read old newspapers, newspaper articles, yearbooks, things like that, to find out more about each of the nominees. Then the committee goes through every single nominee, and right now we have close to 80 nominees that we look at each year. And in order to be selected then, the committee goes through each nominee's bio, basically, and then we vote. There's 11 people on the committee. In order to be selected for the Hall of Fame, you must get 9 of the 11 votes. That's not easy, because each of us on the committee have our own biases. We have our own favorites. We like basketball better than football, or football better than track, or whatever. And so we kind of lean one way or the other. So it takes a lot of discussion, and sometimes it's kind of, I just came to my mind, sort of like selecting the Pope. If we don't get him the first time, we do it again. And we don't light any, we don't have the white smoke come out, but we do vote until we get what we feel is a good representative group. Generally speaking, our Constitution says we shouldn't have more than 3 representatives from any category. And there are 5 categories. The categories are a player, a player after high school, and I probably use the best example of that in the Hall of Fame for us is Pat Perry. Because when Pat was in high school, we cut baseball. We didn't have baseball. And so he went to Lincoln Land, made a name for himself there, got drafted by the Houston Astros, and eventually came up and pitched for the St. Louis Cardinals and one of the better teams in Major League, Chicago Cubs. And that's... But Pat is an example of somebody who made their mark after high school. Then we have coaches, present or past coaches of Taylorville High School or in the coaching ranks even out of Taylorville High School that can be selected. And then we have teams. And teams can be selected, any kind of team, any sporting event. We started out mostly, as most schools do, football and basketball because they're the most popular, have gone on the longest. We've had football at Taylorville High School since right at the turn of the century. Our earliest team to go in is the 1928 football team. And this is kind of an interesting thing to me, if it's not to you. The 1928 football team is the only undefeated, untied football team to play at Taylorville High School. You know, when you look at all the great teams we've had, to me, that's astounding. Of course, when they started state tournament playoff, that gave you a loss right there unless you won the state. And so we've had quite a few teams that had the one loss or one tie. The 1928 team is the only team that was totally undefeated and untied. So now we nominate. You have to get 9 of the 11 votes. Once that happens, then I contact the people, and we have a meeting like tonight, and we want to honor those of tonight, and they have earned the right to be here. Before we get to that, though, I do want to thank our sponsors, because to put this banquet on, we give away a lot of meals because we honor the people who are being inducted. And so to help pay for them, we have to get some sponsorships. And so these people have stepped up and helped us out. CNB Bank, Travis Magulius at Edward Jones, Advanced Eye Care, Dr. Deborah Smothers, Bob Ridings, and the Breeze Courier has provided us with a lot of advertising and coverage, and we certainly appreciate their support too. I hope that when we're finished and before you leave, if you go out this door, you will see the plaques of all the members that are in the Hall of Fame currently. And we're starting to go down the hall toward the gym, and hopefully you get a chance to look at some of those, and there might be some people that you recognize that you didn't realize that were such good athletes or part of our sports program. So with that, Matthew, Mr. Hutchison is going to come up and start the introductions, and I hope you have an enjoyable evening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Hicksonball said it. I say this every day to the students. It's a great day to be a tornado. Oh, pardon me, tech issues here today. It is my pleasure every year to read the bios for the Hall of Fame. This year, the class of 2025 is no different. We will begin with the first inductee, and that inductee is Harold Cap Henson. Harold Cap Henson was a 1950 graduate of Taylorville High School and was a member of the football, basketball, and track teams. On the football team, he played both sides of the ball as an offensive and defensive tackle. As a senior, Cap was named team captain and was selected to the All-Mid-State Conference team and earned honorable mention All-State honors. Henson is notably remembered for establishing the Tornado school record with an 89-yard punt during his senior season. On the basketball court, Harold Henson was a 2-year varsity player and was voted team captain his senior year. It was in that year that the Tornadoes completed a 24-9 season that ended with an IHSA regional and sectional championship and a trip to the Sweet 16 at the University of Illinois. On the track team, Henson advanced to the IHSA state track meet, representing Taylorville in the shot put. After graduation, he accepted a scholarship to play football at Purdue University. However, he later transferred to Iowa State University, but returned to Purdue, where he received his undergraduate degree. Tonight we have a video to share with you, so if you can bear with me.
Hello, my name is Lindy Angel. I'm the middle daughter of Harold Cat Henson. With me is my mother. You may remember her as Laura McKee. She is now Laura McKee Henson and has been so for many years. My dad would be so pleased to be selected for the Taylorville High School Sports Hall of Fame class of 2025. In our childhood days, I can remember him regaling us kids with stories of his athletic prowess. I'm sure that his stories were embellished just a tiny bit, but nevertheless, we all enjoyed hearing about his high school feats. For as long as I can remember, my dad was a huge football and basketball fan. Sometimes golf, sometimes a little bit less baseball, but he was all about his football and his basketball. I can remember I had some very fond memories of spending Sundays watching football with my dad, and even today turning the football game on gives me a sense of calm and security remembering those times. Dad graduated from Purdue University in 1955 with a degree in electrical engineering. He'd been in the ROTC, and after graduation, he went directly into officer training, and then went on to making training films for the Army. After his discharge, he worked for several companies in the aviation business, to include Hughes Aircraft, during which time he famously has bragged that he actually met Howard Hughes. His work took him all over the world, Cairo, Saudi Arabia, England, Paris. As a teenager, I had the privilege of tagging along with him to the Paris Air Show for his business. What a thrill that was. When Dad retired, we were living in Maryland, and it was then that he became interested in antiques. He began in furniture, and on the weekends we would all go away to auctions and come home with many different antiquities and things we had no idea what they were. Our home quickly became full of all things old. Eventually, his interest in antiques began to focus on collecting inkwells of all shapes and sizes. He became somewhat of an expert after time, serving as an appraiser for some of his clients' inkwell collections. I was lucky enough to inherit his inkwell collection when he passed away in the spring of 2021, and they're now beautifully displayed throughout my home. Dad was a loving father to my two sisters, Joan and Sherry, and me. Growing up, we never wanted for anything and enjoyed a safe and happy home. Mom bred and showed Cocker Spaniels for over 50 years under the kennel name of Cap and Laura. And Dad attended shows regularly, making it a family affair. Thank you again so much for celebrating Cat Henson. I know Taylorville High School certainly holds some great memories for he and my mother. All right. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
To except for Harold Cap Henson tonight, Mr. Jim Marblestone.
I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for letting Cappy come in. He was a great guy, a very close friend, and a wonderful athlete. And so, I want to thank you very much. I'll take care of it, and we'll send it. The Cappy's back. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Marblestone. Our next inductee this evening is Blake Hooper. Blake Hooper was a 2014 graduate and a 4-year member of the Taylorville High School football, wrestling, and track teams. Blake was selected to the Central State 8 All-Conference football team during his junior and senior years and earned all Central State 8 academic honors his final 3 years. Voted as Taylorville High School Most Valuable Lineman following his senior year, Hooper attended Illinois State University, joining the Redbird football team and receiving a full scholarship his senior season. Earning 4 letters in wrestling, Blake was selected an All-Central State 8 wrestler each of his sophomore, junior, and senior seasons and earned all state honors his senior season. As a junior, he had a 34-8 record, and as a member of the record-setting 2012-13 wrestling team, Blake was one of 6 individual sectional qualifiers. As a senior, he compiled a record of 40-8 as the Tornadoes heavyweight division wrestler, and again qualifying for the state meet, and became the first Taylorville High School wrestler to place in the IHSA state tournament, placing 6th place in the Class 2A individual heavyweight division. A defining record in the weight room was established by Blake when, in 2014, he set the Taylorville High School record with a combined total bench, squat, and clean of 1,385 pounds. To introduce and welcome Blake to the Hall of Fame, Coach Lee Mateer.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Lee Mateer. I am Blake's former high school coach in wrestling and in football and in strength and conditioning. And it is with great honor that I get the opportunity to introduce him. So the write-up about Blake is very nice. It highlights his accomplishments, his honors, his records. But the story of Blake Hooper is much deeper, and it is much more beautiful than a list of accolades. Tonight I have the privilege of telling the story behind the statistics, and I was honored to witness this firsthand as his coach. I met Blake when he was an incoming freshman at Taylorville High School. From the start it was clear Blake was confident. He believed deeply in himself and his abilities. And some might even misinterpret that as being arrogant. But I never did. I saw it for what it really was. That rare defining characteristic that separates the good from the great. Blake had high standards for himself. He set high goals. And you could immediately tell he was wired differently. But beyond that confidence was an unshakable perseverance and a relentless determination. From day one of high school, Blake had a dream. He was going to be a Division I college football player. He had other opportunities after high school. He could have played at smaller division colleges and been a football player. He could even probably have pursued some big-time wrestling opportunities. But he never wavered from his dream. It was the driving force behind so much of what he achieved. The story tonight doesn't tell about how he chose to walk on at Illinois State University. And for any of you who know what walk on means, that's a hard life. That's a tough life. He walked on at a place that played in a conference that was one of the best FCS football conferences in the country. Because anything less would have haunted him. It doesn't tell about the hardships he overcame, the struggles he endured to earn that scholarship, to become a starter, and to make an impact on that Redbird defensive line. The words that need to be spoken tonight about Blake Cooper are tough, resilient, accountable, disciplined, and obsessed with success. I was honored to witness these exceptional qualities every day as his coach. The story doesn't tell about the moments of failure or the times of self-doubt that Blake had to battle through and overcome. Like the time we traveled to Whitewater, Wisconsin, when he suffered a tough loss on the wrestling mat against a towering man-boy child who was ranked as a heavyweight. He was from Neuqua Valley, which is a suburb up there in, Chicago near Naperville. Afterward, Blake and I had a tough conversation. One that wasn't easy for either one of us. And I lit into him a little bit that day, pretty good. Because I knew that he was right on the verge of being special. And I believed it, and deep down, I knew he believed it too. What separates Blake is how he responded to that setback and all the setbacks he ever faced. Most athletes don't respond to failure the way Blake does. And sure enough, later that season, Blake faced that very same opponent again. This time it was in the IHSA state finals. And you know what happened? Blake beat him. He beat him. And that victory propelled Blake to place 6th in the state tournament, becoming Taylorville's first and only all-state wrestler. That's the real story of Blake Cooper. It's not just about talent. It's about grit, discipline, heart, and perseverance. It's about the countless hours he spent training in the weight room, the mat, the classroom, pushing himself to be excellent in all areas. And as proud as I am of all of his athletic achievements, the best part of Blake's story is his heart. Blake wasn't just a star athlete. He was the leading role as Gaston in the spring musical for Beauty and the Beast. It's true. And he did awesome at it. He was an outstanding student academically. His high standards touched every part of his life. Today, Blake Cooper is a successful attorney living in Chicago. But more importantly, he is a loving husband to his beautiful wife, Haley, and a proud father to his precious daughter, Eloise, and a devoted son, brother, and friend. The life Blake has built is a reflection of the love and the authenticity he gives to others. If I had to choose one word to define Blake Cooper's story, it would be authentic. Blake has always been and always will be the real deal, a man built for others. It is with great pride and great honor and deep humility that I introduce to you Mr. Blake Cooper. And may I be the first to congratulate you on your induction to the Taylorville Sports Athletic Hall of Fame.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach Mateer, for the very kind words, and thank you to the committee for nominating me. I'm incredibly grateful to be inducted into the Hall of Fame here. First, I want to just thank my support system, my mom. She #1 supporter all through this. I mean, when I would tell her my crazy dreams of being a Division I football player one day, even though I wasn't the tall, I never had the length or I never had the height, and everybody would tell me that, and she always believed in me, and we would go to several camps every summer, and Tom and I would drive all over the country. So thank you, Mom. I love you. Thank you so much for all that. I also want to thank the community, my teammates. Many of you are here tonight. I see the Stokes family. I see the Smothers family. I see the Peabodys. It's great to see everybody tonight, and all of you had a piece in my success story. So last, I just want to, I'm grateful to be from Taylorville. I'm proud to be from Taylorville. This will always be home for me. I look forward to being able to give back to the community as time goes on. But thank you, everybody, and hope we can celebrate a little bit later tonight. So, thanks, guys.
One more round of applause for Blake Hooper. Our next inductee tonight is Jalen Stewart. Jalen Stewart graduated from Taylorville High School in 2009 and was a 4-year letter winner on the Tornadoes basketball team, a 4-year letter winner on the tennis team, and a 4-year letter winner on the softball team. During her 4 years on the basketball team, the Tornadoes compiled a record of 89 wins against only 33 losses and won 1 regional championship. Jalen scored a career 1,120 points, placing her 8th on the school's all-time scoring list. Sharing MVP honors her senior season, Jalen was selected to the Central State 8 Conference All-Conference team in both her junior and senior seasons, and capped off her senior year with an All-State selection. Playing on the Tornadoes tennis team, Jalen was a state qualifier in doubles as a freshman and a sophomore, and as a senior was undefeated during the regular season and qualified for state after finishing 3rd in sectionals. She was an All-Central State 8 Conference selection in 2008 and a team MVP in 2007, 2008, and 2009. On the softball team, Jalen started all 4 years and was selected team MVP in 2007, 2008, and 2009, and was an All-Central State 8 Conference selection as a sophomore, junior, and senior. Following her senior year, Jalen received a scholarship to attend Division I Illinois State University and play basketball for the Redbirds. In 2011, she transferred to Eureka College, where she finished her career 11th all-time in assists and was selected to the St. Louis Intercollegiate Athletic Conference All-Conference team. Receiving her bachelor's degree in athletic training, Jalen was hired as an assistant basketball coach at East Peoria High School. In 2015, Jalen began a 5-year stay as an assistant basketball coach at La Roche University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Then in 2020, she was called back to her alma mater, Eureka College, where she was hired as the head women's basketball coach for the Eureka Red Devils. During her 3 years at Eureka, the COVID epidemic shortened each season, and the Red Devils compiled a record of 26-40, but advanced to the SLIAC Conference semifinals each year. In 2023, Jalen Stewart was selected to lead the women's basketball program at Sewanee University of the South in Sewanee, Tennessee, where she continues to lead the Tigers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to welcome to the Taylorville Sports Hall of Fame, Jalen Stewart.
Hello. just want to thank the committee for inducting me to the Hall of Fame. This is home to me. I don't get to come back nearly as much as I want to, but I moved here in 8th grade. Truly a decision my mom made that kind of altered my life and put me on this path to coaching college basketball and getting to do what I love every day. But I want to thank my mom. She worked in Decatur all through 8th grade through high school and drove there and back, there and back, there and back every day. Did not miss a game that I remember from basketball, softball, or tennis. So 4 years of just a lot of driving, and I really appreciate it. My sisters for hitting ground balls at me really, really hard when I was 4, 5, 6 years old, toughening me up a little bit. And my grandparents who are no longer with us, but just if you saw me play, if you knew my family, you knew my grandparents, Chuck and Joanne, who were just huge fans of me, huge fans of our team, and were always super supportive of us. But it's been great to come back, and I'm so thankful to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. It's such an honor to be here and seeing all of you out there and seeing so many familiar faces that I haven't seen in so long. But truly, thank you. It's really an honor, and I appreciate it.
Next, we'd like to induct Rich Wilson Jr. into the Hall of Fame. Rich Wilson Jr., selected as a friend of sports, graduated from Taylorville High School and played on the football and baseball teams. Following high school, Rich became a teacher and eventually rose to becoming the superintendent of schools at Taylorville Community Unit School District Number 3. Serving in that position for 14 years, Wilson was instrumental in making improvements to the high school athletic facilities, including a new all-weather track, improvements in field event facilities, and new bleachers for the football and soccer programs. Rich also supported the basketball program by being a volunteer coach at the Junior Tornado basketball program. To introduce Rich to the Hall of Fame tonight, our head football coach, Mr. Jeb Odom.
Hello. As many of you know, my name is Jeb Odom. I'm the head football coach here at Taylorville High School. I am also the son-in-law of Rich Wilson, and this is my son, Barron, who is the oldest grandson of Rich. As I speak tonight about Rich, the thing that comes to mind is he's going into the Hall of Fame as a friend of sports. He is a friend of Taylorville. The son of Rich Sr. and Jean, Rich was a member of the 1944 basketball team, so that pretty much makes him royalty in the Taylorville community. He doesn't know a stranger in this town. He currently lives in Georgia, and there isn't a week that doesn't go by where he's sending us articles on, Barron's athletic achievements, or my daughters, or friends of the family. Every now and then I'll get the occasional picture of a letter to the editor, and he'll want to say, "What in the world is going on now?" Taylorville Anonymous, I got a picture of a Taylorville Anonymous. What in the world's going on? So he lives 500 miles away, but it's very clear to me and to our family that Taylorville is always first on his mind. And that's something that I'll always remember. As a student here, when you walk the hallways, you'd see him coming down the hallway. It was Mr. Wilson back then. He always had his hand out. He always wanted to shake your hand. He wanted to know what you were doing as a person. He wanted to know how your family was. He wanted to know all the things that make good people want to be friends with him. And that's something he still does today. We cannot go out to eat at a restaurant without him knowing every person in the restaurant. Not only does he know every person, but he'll know their parents, their siblings, what sports they played, and what neighborhood they grew up in. And as he gets honored tonight as a friend of sports, all the things he did as an educator, as a father, as a father-in-law, it all comes to fruition tonight because he's an excellent individual who truly cares about his family, and by family I mean his extended family in Taylorville as well. Barron?
Our next inductee, my grandfather, Rich Wilson Jr.
I want to thank the committee for this honor. It's totally unexpected. I also want to thank my family. I have, you've already met Jeb and Barron, my daughter Heather, my daughter Maureen, my son-in-law Arby. I also have another daughter, my oldest daughter Laura lives in Wellesley, Massachusetts, son-in-law there, and 3 grandsons. My wife Carol. Together we have 5 daughters, 12 grandchildren, and we just had our first great-grandchild on January 12th. I also want to recognize my late wife, Chris. She was very supportive of my career and also my parents. I'm very, very thankful that they sent me to college and I didn't have to go to the coal mine. I also want to thank the Taylor community. It was a great place to grow up in the 50s and 60s here. I have very fond memories. I also want to thank the students, staff, and the faculty of Taylorville Community School District number 3. I had a great 14 years here. I spent 4 years as a teacher, 4 years as a principal, and then I had 7 years as superintendent at Stonington. Those were probably the best 7 years of my career. We had students that came in as kindergartners on the east door of the building. They left the west doors as graduating seniors. I knew every child in the school. I knew where they lived. I rode the buses after school. I knew the family members. I want to greatly thank the Stonington School Board back then. I was 29 years old, and they hired me as a superintendent of schools, and I basically knew nothing. And it was a great place to learn. I found out at Stonington that the motto there was do the best you can of everything that you do, and I tried to carry that through my career. In band, we had John Reed. We had 133 kids in the high school at Stonington. 81 of them were in the band. We had Jack Detro as our coach. He won 626 games there. I was there 7 years. My first 4 years, we did not lose a game, home game, as junior varsity and varsity teams. We were very successful. I remember for an athletic banquet there with Mr. Detro, I calculated it. He had been around the world 2 times on a school bus with his teams. He'd been there so long. My first game at Stonington, we played in Morrisonville down there. He dressed 39 boys that night. Mr. Detro would give them a uniform, no guarantees of playing time, but it was quite a scene for me my first year. At Stonington, we developed a family atmosphere, and I always tried to carry that through my career. And then we moved to Gillespie. That was totally different. I spent 5 years there. It felt like 10. We had Gillespie was Scotch and Irish. Beneld was Russian, Croatian, and Italian. Not a good mix. Whatever I did in Gillespie, I had to do the same thing in Beneld. 7 board members, we had to have 4 from Gillespie, 3 from Beneld, every time, every election. I was the first superintendent there in 38 years who wasn't from the school district. I was an outsider, and about the only thing I learned in my 5 years there was from the football program. We had Don DeBrino, another Hall of Fame coach. I found out that when the football team had a good season, our discipline problems in the high school were minimal. The football team did not have a good season. We were in for a rough ride. Summer of 1992, Taylorville was looking for a superintendent. Dr. Bundy had served 26 years. He had been my junior high principal when I was a student here. Jack Brown was assistant superintendent. Mr. Brown had been my 7th grade science teacher. I'm 41 years old at that time, and rather odd situation. Well, I applied and I didn't get a sniff. The school board had hired the Illinois Association of School Boards to conduct the superintendent search. That's an old boys network, and I don't play that game. I always found my own jobs. But I did want to come back to Taylorville because I felt I owed the community and the school district a lot. So the middle of June comes, they've offered the job to two guys. They both took the jobs, and then they turned around and they wanted more money. Well, that fell through. So I called up Jim Meisheimer. He was school board president in June of 1992. I told him I was still interested and I would come if everything worked out. So I came for an interview. The school board gave me 2 pages of things that were wrong at Taylorville High School. And I looked them over and I thought, wow, this is going to be extremely difficult, going to be a lot of pain, a lot of hardship. The biggest issue was students were going off to college and having to take remedial courses. That to me is unacceptable. And that's what I worked on really hard. I also asked for 6 months time frame to see about the high school, to see if all the things in the list were accurate. Unfortunately, they were. I took the job on July 13th, 1992, the week before the district had annexed Stonington and Mount Auburn. We got a lot of good students from Stonington and Mount Auburn in those years. We had over 1,000 students at Taylorville High School. 1,000 students is more than the village of Stonington. We had them all in one building. I did have some tragedies in my first year. It was a highly unusual year. It was Columbus Day weekend. We had Institute Friday morning. Teachers were off Friday afternoon, and then Monday, Columbus Day, was no school. So it was a 3.5-day weekend for the teachers. Had a teacher who had a drinking problem. I didn't know about it. He started drinking Friday night. Saturday morning, he ran a fireplace poker through his neck and hit his carotid artery. He bled out on the floor. 2 weeks later, we had another teacher. We'd started Title I for Stonington and Mount Auburn schools. Teacher drove she taught at Stonington in the morning, drove over the noon hour to Mount Auburn. She was hit by a propane truck and killed her. Still my first year. Then it was election day of November 1992. William Harris was the principal at Memorial Elementary School. That's where I was housed. The unit office was at Memorial at that time. Back then, if you had after-school activities and the parents didn't show up or somebody didn't come to get the kid, you put the kid in your car and you took him home. You don't do that anymore today, but that's what we did back then. Well, Mr. Harris put this boy in the car, took him back. He lived down at Clarksdale. Mr. Harris went over the train tracks with the boy, dropped him off, came back, hit by a train. Mr. Harris was driving an S10 pickup. There was a Pepsi-Cola truck coming down Route 48 at the same time. He measured his speed at 62 miles per hour. The train hit Mr. Harris's truck right behind the cab. He was paralyzed on one side. He was never able to come back to work. I fought with the Workers' Compensation Insurance Company for almost 3 years before they finally settled, because I thought Mr. Harris had gone above and beyond the call of duty. While all this is going on, I'm still evaluating what's going on out here at the high school. So the day after, it was our second day back from Christmas vacation. I came out here, told the principal, said, if things don't change out here, you're going to be reassigned back to the classroom and I'm going to get fired. Well, I knew when I said it, that was not going to happen in 3 months' time, because we had to let employees know 60 days before the end of school if we were going to bring them back. So it was March 29, 1993. We had a special board meeting down at Memorial School in the cafeteria of the basement. Over 300 people were there, mostly in support of the principal. We were going in, we knew it was going to 6-1 vote. One board member, and I respected this, said he would not support reassigning the principal. So the secretary of the board read the very lengthy list of bill of particulars, charges against the principal. Board voted 5-2. We had one board member that couldn't stand the pressure. The next morning was the best day of the spring. The assistant principal had told me that the kids are going to go outside into the sunken area in front of the high school in support of the principal for 10 minutes. I was fine with that. Best day of the spring, some kid yells, "Let's go to the square." I had 600 students on the street. We made CNN News. But I got through my first year, so I survived. Then we started working on improving our curriculum out here. We started adding dual credit courses, AP courses. We talked to teachers about getting master's degrees so we could offer even more AP courses. Physiology and anatomy, we added physical science. Technology came in during that time. Tried to upgrade everything out here. The buildings, when I came back, I thought I was in a time warp. The building had not changed in the 24 years I'd been gone. So we built the science wing, gutted and renovated the first, second, and third floors. Built this facility. I thought it was my responsibility to upgrade the facility so that the learning would improve. And I think it did. My last year was 2005, 2006. Taylorville High School was one of the top 100 high schools in the United States, according to U.S. News and World Report for student achievement and cost efficiency. For the athletic program out here, I had influence in that. I started with football. We were still in the Apollo Conference, 1992 fall season, and we were bad. I'd experienced when I was a student here bad coaching, and I also experienced not having fun in a sport, in football. And I told myself that when I was a high school student, I said, if I ever get in a position where I can do something about that, I'm going to get some good coaching, and the kids are going to have fun playing the sports. So during the season, my first game was at Robinson. I took my oldest daughter, we drove down there. Robinson used to shoot off a cannon whenever they scored a touchdown. The cannon went off twice before we got to the game. We could hear it miles away. We got smeared. Homecoming game, the head coach down on the field out here. His brother was the offensive coordinator. They were arguing back and forth while the game was going on. I said, this is embarrassing and I can't let this happen. Then I went to Effingham by myself. Coach put Jeb in as a freshman quarterback. Matt Hart was the center. Jeb was in shotgun formation. Matt snapped the ball over his head 6 times. I was standing on the Effingham sideline with the Effingham fans. They were laughing at us. Unacceptable. I said, you don't laugh at my school, you don't laugh at my school district, and you don't laugh at me. Last game of the season was at Paris. Another long drive. I could see, well, we were going to Central State 8 the next year. I stood behind the bench of the football team. I counted 13 fans for Taylorville. Well, the game was going on in the third quarter. The players were talking about where the party was after the game. That was the last straw for me. I came back and I told Jim Meisheimer, the board president, we need to make a change. He said, and I said, I also want to do my own search, which was highly unusual. And the board agreed, so they let me do it. Chuck Hansen came into my office down at Memorial School at the counter about a week later, and he said he wanted to apply for the head job. And I said, Chuck, I really need somebody young in the building. And he understood because he had recently retired from Deerfield. He'd moved down here to retire, he and Judy. But I said, Chuck, I want you to be the assistant coach. So I had assistant coach and no head coach. I really wanted Mark Ramsey for Central A&M. He just won the state title over at Central A&M. And he turned me down 4 times because I knew he had another good team coming. I think he won another state championship. So then I started going into the interviews. I brought in Scott Alberson, probably the best move I ever made in my career. Scott brought this videotapes of East Peoria football. We went down to Peggy Breckenridge's kindergarten room. We sat there for 2 hours, and we watched these tapes of this East Peoria. They weren't winners, but they were competitive, and they threw the ball a lot. And I thought, we're going to the Central State 8. We've got to be better organized because our athletes are going to have a tough time matching up with the Springfield athletes. So Scott got hired, Still hadn't met anybody except me. And he met me out here on the practice field. And all of a sudden, this big old kid comes striding towards us. He's got on a 10-gallon cowboy hat, big old belt buckle, boots, flannel shirt. He says, "Coach," sticks out this big old paw and says, "Josh Hutchins, I'm one of your players." And he walks away. And I thought, Scott's going to get in his car. He's never going to come back here. But he did, and very successful. He's the all-time winningest football coach in Taylorville High School history. Carol Wilson was another interesting situation. We had the same guy that was our football coach that basically let go. He was also the girls' coach for basketball. The biggest thing to me with the coaches is I want to see improvement in the skill levels of the players every year. Well, our girls were good, but their skill levels weren't increasing. So we made another change, and Carol Wilson applied. We were actually looking for a math teacher, and Carol ended up like 114 wins and 11 losses in 4 years. Those are great seasons. Got to think about the players I got to experience during my time here. All the Curtins, the 5 Weber sisters, the 3 Repsher brothers, the 2 Stork brothers, the 3 Rare brothers, the 2 Bloomquist brothers, Jeb Odom, Ryan Pren, Doug Hughes, Nathan Shanks, Emmanuel Minter, Lee Mateer, Ben Briggs. I want to give some shout outs to the Taylorville High School Sports Boosters for their support of athletics out here. Tommy TV and Neil Hohenstein. I get to watch the games in Georgia, football and basketball. I got to see Barron pretty much most of his career. Anthony Reveco, I mean, that boy is, young man has got a bright future. He does a tremendous job on Tommy TV as the lead broadcaster. Lucas Dominowski from the Breeze Courier with his pictures, photographs. He was very fair to the teams. The Gridiron Club for their financial support. And I also want to note the jazz band. I saw them in person. I've heard them in person here. It's a big improvement from what we had before. And Cliff Jordan, I like to watch him play his guitar and play along with the kids. I also want to notice the full kamikazes with Lee. If you haven't seen this on Instagram, I would recommend it to you. It's through the THS football, correct? And the full kamikazes. He's making those young men into a brotherhood, future citizens of our country. The Tuesday talks with that program are, I've learned a lot from them. The people that come in and address the young men. I'm proud I was born in Taylorville. I was proud I was raised here. I'm proud I spent 12 years in school here. We didn't have kindergarten. Public schools didn't when I was a student. I'm proud of my 14 years as superintendent. I'm proud I played for the Tornadoes. I'm Taylorville proud. Thanks, y'all. I actually hired Matt too.
He did. Yeah. One more round of applause with that. Yeah. One more round of applause for Rich Wilson. Congratulations. Our next inductee this evening is Mr. Dan Neves. Dan Neves, a teacher at Taylorville Junior High School, accepted the position of assistant girls track coach at Taylorville High School in 1996, assisting head coach Sarah Marcellia for 2 years before becoming the head coach in 1998. Under his tutelage, the girls track program grew not only in numbers, but as a force to be reckoned with in the Central State 8 Conference. Guiding the talented athletes on the team, Neves provided leadership and technical training that provided 5 girls to qualify for the IHSA state track meet in his first 2 years. In 2008, Neves' goal was not only to improve the naturally skilled athletes on the team, but to recruit and develop girls to build a team that could compete not only in dual meets, but against some of the strongest teams in Central Illinois at the bigger open and invitational meets. In 2004, the girls began competing indoors. This increased competition began showing dividends in the outdoor program immediately. In 2005, the freshman-sophomore ladies were champions of the Springfield Capital City Fresh Off Invitational. The varsity captured first place in the Redskin Open in 2005, 2006, and 2008. Dan Neves developed a sustainable program that was competitive year in and year out. And in 2008, the Tornadoes finished highest ever 4th place in the Central State 8. Track meet, arguably the toughest track conference in downstate Illinois. During his tenure as head coach, Dan Neves guided girls of the Taylorville High School track team to establishing 17 new individual outdoor records. Neves guided 8 girls to become Central State 8 Conference champions, 30 girls to become Decatur area best qualifiers, and 18 girls to participate in the Springfield Honor Roll Classic. Not only did the Taylorville girls have success in the local area, but during his 17 years as head coach, 3 girls qualified for the IHSA Indoor State Meet, and 13 girls became state qualifiers through their performance at the IHSA Sectional Meet, with 2, Allison Curtin and Claire Nolan, bringing home a total of 7 medals. To quote from his nomination, "Beyond the tangible records was Dan's approach and philosophy of coaching young ladies. He understood they had many interests and allowed them to pursue other areas, work, music, academics, etc., while also using their talents in track and field. He respected their time and allowed them to participate without placing unrealistic demands on them. The girls flourished under his guidance and created lifetime memories from their Taylorville High School track and field experiences." To introduce and welcome Dan Neves, who will read remarks from Kirk Kellkamp, I believe, Mr. David Hicksonball.
Kirk Kellkamp was junior high school principal for many years and wrote these comments regarding what does a junior high school social studies teacher know about coaching track and field? Most are unlikely aware that Dan Neves was an NCAA Division III All-American track athlete at Millikan University. Granted, that was a few years ago and a few pounds ago. So when it came to running, jumping, and throwing, Dan had all the bases covered. However, while listening to him talk about coaching girls track, it was clear that his passion for the process was the key. Passion could be described in 3 ways. Dan's passion could be described in 3 ways. 1, an awareness that there were many talented females athletes in the high school. 2, how to get them out for track and meet their needs to keep them out for track. And 3, given their talents, putting them in the very best scenarios to have success in track and field. In sum, Dan's ultimate goal was to give the track athletes the opportunity to reach and exceed their potential and to have a high school sports experience that was gratifying, memorable, and fun. To the members of the Taylorville High School Hall of Fame Committee, thank you for giving Dan this opportunity and appropriately honoring him this evening. With that, I introduce Dan Neves.
I have to wear glasses now, too. Before I begin my remarks, I'd be remiss in not putting a thank you out to the brother that I never had, Kirk Kellkamp, who's not able to be here today, and to my wife, who I could never thank enough for all the things and sacrifices she made on all those nights. I'm honored to be here tonight, along with the other inductees. I'd like to thank you to all the members of the Hall of Fame committee for seeing fit to recognize me. My journey as a coach at Taylorville was not unlike many others here and at schools around the nation. And as with most situations, the successes were a collective effort. When I was fortunate enough to be named the head coach of the Lady Tornadoes track and field program, I quickly came to understand how stability makes a program strong and fruitful. Former coaches Joyce Wilcox and Sarah Marcelia, for whom I had been an assistant for a couple of years, continued to provide valuable counsel throughout the ensuing years. I had the pleasure of working with great assistants over the years like Brandy Hoy, Frank Farr, Allison Curtin, and Callie Cox Pope. They all, in their own unique and special ways, were essential to the growing success of the program. Additionally, Tom Campbell, Matt Hutchison, Paul Held, and Chris Ransdell and Sandy Williams in the THS office served as conduits for me to keep in touch with students and parents throughout the days, and cannot go without mention. But ultimately, the reason that we were able to see success as a program were the hundreds of student athletes that believed in what we were trying to accomplish. Not just on the athletic fields, but understanding that they were a part of something larger, the Lady Tornadoes track and field family. They, along with their parents, made a commitment to something bigger than themselves. And as that happened, the program blossomed. I was and still am a proponent of constantly assessing progress. As I said many, many times to the girls, you get better or worse each day, and hard work breeds success. These may seem like trite phrases, but through our collective efforts, the seeds we sowed reaped great results. Our first year, we went from a team of only 7 girls to consistently numbering in the 30s near the end of my tenure. We started small, focusing on personal bests, then transitioned to breaking and setting school records, and then moved to be even more competitive and winning. We began to hold camps in the summer, off-season workouts in the summer and fall, some led by our team captains, as well as adding a robust indoor meet schedule. All of those efforts, along with the addition of more athletes, led to greater and greater success. I remembered as we rolled into a big invitational meet, and the opposing teams looked on slack-jawed as our large team emptied out of the bus, and I turned to the girls and said, "Ladies, today we're Southeast." And we went on to win that invite 3 out of 4 years, and the 4th being a second-place finish. The confidence gained from their hard work continued to pay off with top finishes in large invites, conference meets, and led to countless area best meet qualifiers, in addition to several trips to the indoor state meet in Bloomington and the outdoor state meet in Charleston. Additionally, we were fortunate to have a few athletes even move on, compete, and see greater success at the collegiate level. Athletes like Kirsten Dakin, Jill Giacchino, and Claire Nolan. Their success only fueled and encouraged their younger teammates. In an effort to help our program see greater success, I was a major advocate in the Track Coaches Association to move to a 3-class system for the IHSA, which they finally did, unfortunately, the year after I left. But even while competing in the best downstate track and field conference, the CS8, and in the 2-class system, we more than held our own. And we became known not for necessarily having the fastest or strongest athletes, but always having the hardest working, smartest, and some might even say prettiest. Our teams were recognized with the IHSA Team Academic Award in each of the years after the award was initially instituted. One year, our collective GPA of 33 girls was nearly a 4.0 average. I am proud that the young ladies that I had the pleasure to work with were the consummate student athletes. As I've reflected over the last month and have gone down memory lane in my mind, I could go on and on with you, but I'm not going to do that. And rather than doing that, for me, it's more fitting to look at the process. I'm overcome with a sense of joy about what we were able to collectively accomplish over those years. It is my hope that the lessons learned from being a part of our program had applications not just in track and field, but in life. Committing to something larger than yourself, working at it every day, learning how to compete, to set goals, to work hard, and to achieve while dealing with setbacks and challenges along the way. To see former athletes that are now corporate executives, teachers, professors, counselors, nurses, and a whole cornucopia of professions, along with many mothers as well. It gives me great satisfaction, and I'd like to think that perhaps in some small way, my influence was a part of their success as well. I'm humbled and honored to be recognized tonight. Go Tornadoes, thank you.
One more round of applause for Dan Meade. Well, that leaves us with one. Actually, more than one, right? The 2012-2013 wrestling team. The 2012-2013 wrestling team selected for team success had a regular season record of 23-1 and won the Central State 8 Conference as undefeated champions, won the IHSA regional and sectional tournaments, and were the first Taylorville wrestling team to ever advance to the IHSA Class 2A dual team quarterfinals. As a team, they qualified 13 out of 14 wrestlers, recorded a 20-plus win season, and each qualifier advanced in his weight classes to sectionals. The team finished the season ranked 6th in the state and are considered to be the most successful, most talented, and most decorated team in school history. The Tornadoes began their historic season with dominating victories over Hillsborough and Clinton, but quickly suffered an early season loss to traditional power Muhammad Seymour. Rather than letting the loss define them, the team used it as motivation. What followed was 21 consecutive dual meet victories, demonstrating their ability to rebound and dominate throughout the season. In addition to dominating the remainder of their dual meet schedule, the Tornadoes showcased their versatile team lineup by competing in the nationally recognized and respected Mid-State Wrestling Classic held at the University of Wisconsin Whitewater campus, where they faced powerhouse teams from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois, and finished a respectable top 10, 8th out of 40 teams. Furthermore, the team also won all 3 of their in-state wrestling tournaments. The Tornadoes closed out their regular season with a dominating win over traditional powerhouse Chatham-Glenwood, 52-12, clinching the Central State 8 Conference Championship with an undefeated 7-0 record. In the IHSA Regional Tournament, the Tornadoes clinched the Class 2A Championship, topping the 9 entries and bettering second-place finisher Troy Triad by 9.5 points with 153 total points. In the sectional tournament, the Tornadoes, led by Aaron Herkert, Brock Letcher, and Jake Hamill, upset number 8 state-ranked Cahokia High School 40-29, advancing them to the IHSA dual team state tournament, first time in school history. The journey ended at the U.S. Cellular Coliseum in Bloomington as the Tornadoes lost to the Sycamore High School in a hard-fought quarterfinal match, 38-33. To introduce this great group of grapplers, again, I would like to welcome Lee Mateer.
Thank you. Hey, can we, well, I want the microphone.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Can I
That's
help
good?
you?
Yeah, help me out.
What can I do for you?
Turn the microphone on.
Check.
Okay, listen, if I got the microphone in my hand, I want all of them up here, right now. Get up here, get up here. So, I got words, mic time, I'm taking advantage of it.
You got one shot, 'cause
One
it's only
shot?
one time, man.
Oh boy, this is gonna get interesting.
That's it.
So we're gonna pass this around, everybody gets a chance if you want, but I get to go first. I'm gonna start off, we're gonna keep it lighthearted. Did you guys hear Coach Neves say the beautiful words, consummate student athletes, when talking about his girls? Like academic prowess. And we're not going to hear any of those stories tonight. That's not going to be this kind of story that we're going to talk about. So, first off, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to pass the mic around. You guys can go first. I'm going to go last. I want you to introduce yourselves. Tell them what weight class you wrestle. You talk about any positive, maybe not so positive memories. I told you guys you would get a shot one of these days to publicly humiliate me. Now is that time. I'm scared I'm going to hand the microphone to this guy first. Coach is coming up too, by the way. Okay, Brandon, get up here. Don, Troy, get up here. Everybody get up here. Okay, get up here. Jason, get up here. Jason, Tex, get up here. So, here we go.
first mic. Kid Morrison. This might be a little lengthy tonight, so I kind of apologize. We get one shot, one opportunity to do this. As the most dominant force to ever come through Taylorville as a wrestling team, I'm proud to say the 2012 and 13 wrestling team, it was amazing. The fundraisers, the support, everything from the principal going to every single meet, I'm pretty sure he did not miss a single meet by then. And on top of that, we had Lee Material organizing a bunch of fundraisers for everybody in the entire wrestling team, and it was amazing. It was one of the most thankful things in my life that I've gone to. So, on top of that, I wrestled I weighed 90 pounds. I ate Subway sandwiches on the bus and everything. But, for everybody else, I apologize. I wrestled at 103 to I think 132 my senior year. And I started off 9 and 15, 17 and 22, 30 and 13. Wait, sure? Something like that, isn't it? I can't remember that. It's something right around there. But anyway, I progressed, and I got a lot better, man. Thankful to Lee Mateer too. I'll tell you one sweet, good little story that I got about Mateer being a softie. This man may run around like he's 400 pounds, benches 380 pounds or whatever. But whenever we were in the wrestling room one day, and he remembers this, we were in the wrestling room, lifting weights, we got done for the day. He said something, and I spoke up and said something like softy or something in the middle of a serious subject. And he pulled me out the hallway afterwards. And he had a little something to say. It was something a little aggressive, and I was like, look, Mateer, I'm going to be honest, I don't really care. And from that day on, he looked at me, and he didn't know what to say. He actually paused and never had anything to say for about the next 10 seconds. And then he said, whatever, man, just get in there. And from that day on, I found out Mateer was an absolute softie, man.
Alright, so I wrestled 285. I still qualified for 285, but about 30 pounds lighter when I was in high school. But one funny story, I remember Coach Mateer, I remember I took him down in practice, and then you got
I don't remember that at all.
I like my memory too, but I do remember you grabbing me and double under me afterwards and landing on top of me and knocking out the wind out of me. I remember. It was a good bonding experience for both of us, and I don't think I took you down ever again after that. So, it was good. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Tyler Wells, I wrestled 150, 160, I think a couple meets and tournaments at 170. I mean, one time, Coach Mateer said, hey, you feel about 185 out today? And I said, sure, he goes, well, just so you know, you never wrestle 150 the rest of the season, you got to gain some weight. So I just took the bus ride, drinking Gatorade while I was sitting there spitting bottles. But one thing I would like to know, though, just how awesome the sport is, and just how much of a self-feeding machine it is. Mr. Will Peabody, who at the time was 4 years out of high school, assistant coach, young and pretty. And,
Pretty? Interesting word.
But he was an assistant, helped coach me as a senior, a junior, and then fast forward now, and I have the distinct privilege and honor to serve alongside and serve under him as his assistant for the academy program until the rest of the club. It's amazing to see how even now today he's still influencing minds, and like everybody else here, Jake as well, being at the helm of the high school program. One funny moment I ended up thinking of wrestling with Coach Mateer, I think it was winter break, and we got to the wrestling room. He had music playing, super lax. I'm like, man, this is going to be great. It's nice. Maybe we'll drill all day. Maybe have some live wrestling. Not do much. He's asking how his Christmas break's doing, how we're doing. I'm like, great. Just got to go put your shoes on. Oh, sweet. Going to run. Going to start practice running. We're going to be on the mat the entire time. And then I think practice started at 9 o'clock hit. that music went off, he just said, line it up, and he started counting songs, he was Shark Tank the whole practice.
That's true.
It's really an honor to be amongst some really awesome men. It's produced a lot of great people, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Steve Fennell, I wrestled 103, 112, 126, and 132. I just want to say it's a big honor to be included in this whole group of athletes here in this room. Everybody, our families, our coaches, we spent a lot of time. I dedicated a lot of time to making this sport. Everything that I want to put all of my time and energy into it, and I couldn't find a better group of guys behind me, and I'm just happy to stand. And my daughter, my mom. I just want to say thank you to everybody on the community.
Hi, I'm Hugh Marr. I wrestled at, I'm just trying to remember, I don't remember exactly anymore, but 132, 138, 145, 152, and then I flip-flopped between 152 and 160 my senior year. So I was a little all over the place, I guess. First thing I'd just like to say is this team had been on, I don't know if a lot of people realize how many years this team was in the making, and I would like to thank the coaches. So for over a decade, all these coaches out here put their heart and soul in making this team what it is, and if we could give them a hand, right? And a community that's not historically a wrestling community, it's really hard to hold this many people together. That's a testament to their drive and commitment and inspiration that they inspire all of us as young men in bringing this team together. So a few funny things that I would like to mention. I don't know if a lot of people realize Lee is actually my cousin. So there's one thing when it comes to live wrestling matches that we would all dread. It would be squaring up with Lee. I was a 132-pound wrestler wrestling with Lee, and one day he was wrestling with me. We're in the middle of all the kerfuffle out there on the wrestling mat, and Lee says, "Hugh," he's like, "You might think that I'm harder than you, because I'm mean." He's like, "It's not. Your blood, I love you, I'm hard because I want you to see the best of me." And then he proceeded to cross face me. That's what we've had with Lee. And then this kind of leads into another thing. One of the funniest and most memorable moments was one day, I guess us as a team decided that, I don't know if it's enough, we're going to get back at Coach Mateer. So we all swarmed Coach Mateer. We held him down, and everybody probably got a few minutes of getting like a noogie, an Indian rug burn, red belly on Lee. And that was a pretty satisfying moment. So I think after that happened, he was like, "We're not talking about this ever again. Here's me talking about it again." So breaking that promise. Sorry. But I just want to say how honored and everybody said to be a part of this team. One of my favorite moments, I think, is when we walk into a place, tournament or something like that, people always underestimated us. They would go on the way, who are they, where are they from? And I'll tell you, everybody would come to that tournament smiling and think that they would have it up on us. But by the time those meets were over in tournaments, there wasn't a smile on their face anymore. And we were the ones who wanted to have the smile on our face.
Hello, my name is Kyle Tex. Started my freshman year wrestling heavyweight, 215, me, Blake, and Ray Rodriguez kind of switched on and off. The last 6 years I wrestled 220 pounds. I want to start by saying, with this group of guys here, that one thing Coach Mateer did teach us is how to overcome adversity and work hard, work for each other, and just kind of commit come together as brothers for those 4 years in high school and accomplish something a lot bigger than ourselves. A lot of guys here tonight that couldn't quite make it being overseas, doing their stuff. I want to thank them. They're on the phone right here. We all love you. I also want to thank my dad, my mom, for all the years that they stuck with me. A lot of you guys don't remember Coach Norman, but he was our very first coach for a lot of us when we were kids. I think he told my dad that the first 3 years I wrestled, I should probably find a different sport. I'm glad my dad kept me in it because it made a lot of good memories and kind of led me to where I am today. And I just want to say I love all you guys. Thank you.
I'm Nicholas Turner. I wrestled in at 160. I wrestled up at 170 a lot. It's amazing what coaching staff has done with this team and the bond that is made between all of us. It's kind of surreal. It's like when people go to the military and they get that brotherhood. We have that brotherhood in all of us. We overcame. We all have the same vision. We all work together to accomplish what we did. So if it wasn't for Lima Tier and all the coaches with us that have kept us on our ass and kept our nose to the grindstone in order to do so. And as far as memories, if there's any crazy, I don't know if anyone's heard a speech. I'm sure everyone's heard a speech from that man. But there's not anyone else that has made me ready to go to war and to rip someone's head off than that man right there. If it wasn't for that push, man, I don't know where I'd be. Thanks.
My name is Dalton Stokes. I wrestled at 195. These guys here, they are, like Nick said, we're a brotherhood, and a lot of us had wrestled from like 2nd, 3rd grade on together. And these coaches were absolutely amazing. They knew that we were all in this together, that we were willing to put in the work and the effort, and they showed us the way. And the stuff that we went through to get to this spot, a lot of people would probably say it's the same. We went through a lot of physical and mental struggle, and we got through it all together, and came out with Hall of Famers, and wouldn't want any other way with you guys. Thank you.
That was good. I'm actually thinking, Sean, you actually did good.
Hello, my name is Keith Rogers. I wrestled 138 for 2 years, 145 for 2 years. Dalton said we all wrestled together since 2nd and 3rd grade. I'm the exception to that. I took a huge leap of faith and moved here my freshman year, and to say that stars aligned, planets aligned, it's all very true. God is real.
Amen.
To end up on this team, I mean, there's few blessings in my life that really compare to it. So,
Amen,
I'm
brother.
gonna skip right into the fun stuff. There's a lot of hazing on this team. So, I'm gonna leave a lot of details out, but I'll just mention a few things. You covered the swarm. I'm proud to say that I left a handprint on his back for 6 weeks.
Probably.
Nothing more satisfying than that. There was a tribunal in a hotel room for Big Ham was convicted. Rightfully so.
That's a good one. Yeah. Forgot about that one.
And I think that something else that's really, really important to mention here is just how electric these meets were in
high school. You know, you watch college, you know, football games. I mean, that's like the closest thing that I can think of that really comes to what it was like to actually be at one of our meets where we were competing for the conference championship. We're in a gym in Cahokia, and I also want to make it known that there is still a wrestling team today. Jake Smothers has been coaching for 6 years now, 7 years, I'm not sure how many. But something in my heart always finds my way back to this team. And those moments are still there. And all you gotta do is show up to the gym. And we would love to have anyone and everyone come out and support the team. This was my first year coaching back on the team, and it's been amazing. They say kids are different now. They are. They wouldn't survive on this team, I don't think. But I'll cut off my rambling. I just want to say thank you for everyone coming.
I'm Rory. Started off at 125, and I think I graduated at 152, 160. I remember the time before Lee was head coach and Don and Troy were coaches down there, and I want to make sure to give them the credit.
Amen.
It wasn't always high time with the wrestling team before we had the numbers that we had my senior year, so those guys stepped out and always pushed us to be the best version that we could be. And once we came in, obviously it took our program to a different level, and sheer numbers and his coaching mentality also helped that. Like these guys said, it was definitely part of it. But yeah, I just appreciate everything that each and every one of them did for me, and we always held each other accountable, and just developed our skill through the time, and it was a heck of a team. So anyways, appreciate it.
Hi there, I'm Rob Pletcher. Coming around this time, I was graduated on 182, or 182. The best thing that ever happened to me was not making the basketball team my 7th grade year. Yeah, that was a little blessing in disguise, because kind of told when I was younger into I should have got wrestling, but now I didn't know basketball thing, didn't make it, so didn't make the team, so let's try out for wrestling here, IQWF, and come to find out, I felt like I was kind of strong going and stuff, but I just didn't know anything though. And I was fortunate enough, they started young, just learning all my coaches there, coming into high school with Coach Don Mead and everything too. A lot of mentors. I grew up with these guys, working wrestling, playing football. I see them all the time. And the cool thing about Taylor Sports is they're trying to make everybody better. I mean, you're seeing these guys every day, you're trying to make them better, they're trying to make you better. A lot of camaraderie comes along with that. So by the time I came into our senior year, and yeah, that's a new kind of way of pushing over us where so we material to this. I knew every match I was going to go into, every tournament, they weren't going to be harder than the practice that we were going through. So I tried to push that to wrestle everybody in practice, trying to make everybody else better. It's the best of my abilities, and I felt confident in every match I went into, pulling to the success that we had. Me individually and as a team, I can be more proud of the guys I'm standing up here with, and all the success we had. Thank you guys.
Hello, I'm Jake Smothers. I'm the head wrestling coach here at Taylorville. I'm lucky and blessed that I was able to be a part of this journey we all got put on. It was a joint effort. It wasn't an individual effort. opportunities that Taylorville High School gave me. I was able to go learn from an undefeated national champion in college. I was able to room with All-American, state champs, national champs. And if it wasn't for this team and us coming together, it really is kind of, you know, there's lawyers, you know, Army Rangers up here, fathers, husbands, and Coach Matier always held us to a standard we didn't even really understand ourselves. Day in and day out, he held us accountable. I think that this sport just kind of makes you a better human, and it either forces you to be better or just quit. The memories we created, the opportunities we were able to have together was special, and it's, you know, as Coach Owen, Coach Matier, and all these other coaches, it's really hard to bring together a lot of like-minded people, and we fought, we cried together, we went through awesome memories, success, failures, but we faced it all head on, and we all became better. And I just want to say thanks to Sir Hixenbaugh for helping organize this, Coach Matier for holding us to that standard, and if it wasn't for his sacrifices and him being our fearless leader and going out of his way to make sure that we all got the opportunities we did, none of us would be here. And thank you all for coming tonight, and go Tornadoes.
So I hate talking in front of crowds, but I'll do my best to make sense. I started wrestling for DWC and IKWF for 2 years, and I come to high school, the rest of 2 years here at Taylorville High School. And at the time when I got presented with the opportunity to help coach, Coach Matier and I were doing powerlifting. And we were in my garage on 2 lanes, and he goes, I want you to help me coach wrestling. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sounds great. I'll get a little better shape hopefully, and I'll get to teach the kids what knowledge I do have of wrestling. And it was definitely unique, and really loved it. And what I didn't expect was how much the kids would mean to me still today. My wife and my children. Yeah, this is why I hate still, they hear today stories of, in my best Arnold voice, Hoopa. And my daughter still cannot say Hooper's name without doing Arnold. Or about the genius that we had on the team. And just so many of these kids, and how special they were to me, and how much I was so proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
My name is Will Peabody. Started coaching. This is my first coaching experience right out of college. I was lucky enough to get to coach this phenomenal young man. And it's really because of you guys that I'm still coaching today, and I've seen what's possible. I was really blessed to experience this in my first year right out of college, and like I said, still coaching ever since. So really thank you guys for trusting me to be on this coaching staff and helping you guys out. So thank you guys so much.
My name is Jason Dex. I'm Kyle's father. I'm also the IKWF coach. Watched most of these guys grow up from start to finish, and still follow a lot of them today. And it was a pleasure watching them grow up. It was a pleasure watching the achievements they had. And I probably learned more from those kids than they ever learned from me. I was that guy that drove them around all over, all the time. Wisconsin. I forgot how many places we drove to, but we had a lot of interesting conversations in a van back there. I had that much in common with high school kids. No wonder my wife said I was always like raising a child. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody involved.
Hello, I'm Troy Chester. I'll keep this very short since we ran
just like to say I've seen lots of teams, lots of good teams. This team here was the real deal. They were really good. And when we walked into the place, people knew they had a chance. But I just want to thank Lee for joining us, because he was what really elevated to this level. And all these guys here for all the hard work. And some of them I still see once in a while. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I do. But they were real good. They were fun to watch. We had a lot of good times, a lot of interesting times, and I'm not going to mention any of them because, well, Lee still works at the school. We don't want to get into it. So, but thank you guys very much. I had lots of great memories, and they will continue. Thank you.
My name is Liam, one of the coaches. I was actually coach before Lee. Handed the job off to me and then turned and went to his assistants. You know, one of those things. But this team was unique. This team, not very often you get a team where you have a lineup where all 14 wrestlers are strong. There's 14 weight classes. You know, I'm just going to share one story, make it short. You know, we went to Russell Chad, and I think he said the score, I can't quite remember it. And they got on the roll. We knocked off, in the first 3 matches, we knocked off 2 of their state qualifiers instantly. And Tommy Johnson, Coach Chad, afterwards comes and tells me, he goes, you know, this is why we take wrestling sport. You know, not an individual sport. Because we could not stop you guys. He goes, when it started, we thought we had them. He goes, but after the 4th match, we knew we were done. Because they're strong the whole way through. And they just pick each other up. Each and every one of them. They're just, like you said, brotherhood. You know, and God gives us unique opportunities, and this was one of those opportunities that God lets us be part of. Amen.
I wanted them to go first. I didn't know how mean they were going to be. And that was going to like determine how mean I'm going to be. So I'm going to be nice. Thanks, guys. So this is an honorary group. So this is going to be a little bit different story than probably what you're used to. But I really want to thank the Hall of Fame committee. We need to give them one more round of applause. The most beautiful thing about these moments is the reconnection of people. Because as you guys all know, the journey of life, it just takes us in all different types of places. And the thing that I'm most grateful and excited about tonight is the fact, just the opportunity to get to see all these wonderful men and reconnect with them. I'm looking forward to talking even after the event tonight.
Successful.
Successful, yes. Yes, kid. So without any further ado, I am truly honored and humbled to be standing here tonight. I want to start by thanking God. God gave me an amazing opportunity to coach these young men, because truly it was one of the greatest coaching experiences of my life. The story of seasons like this it's always about wins. It's about the championships, the medals, the trophies. But as you've kind of grown, to me, it's much more than that. The real beauty of this team, the first and only team to be inducted into the THS Sports Hall of Fame, wasn't just what they did on the mat. It's what they became after the mat. Today, these young men are super successful tradesmen, lawyers, soldiers, leaders, husbands, and fathers. And that's what makes me most proud. Because nowadays, as a coach, I'm constantly challenging young athletes to be unselfish, to be men of empathy, to be men built for others. And right here, these men standing in front of us, they are the walking, breathing examples of just that. I was lucky. I was honored. I was blessed beyond measure to witness this collection of ragtag, ornery suckers. And I don't think we're going to say consummate student athlete, but we'll say successful student athletes. And man, was it fun. I had an incredible coaching staff. Don Beadham, Troy Chesser, Will Peabody, Brandon Rogers, and Alex Osman. I won't forget about Alex. He helps us too. You guys weren't just great teachers of wrestling. You were passionate, selfless, and you were relentless. You made it fun. You made the grind beautiful. And most importantly, you really cared about the kids. I also want to publicly thank Jason Tex and Phil Herkert. I want to make sure we thank Phil Herkert as well. These guys were former IKWF coaches who built the foundation for our success. And their sacrifices were great. We had a Tornado Wrestling Foundation at the time. A kid talked about fundraising. Jerry and Joellen Marr, Jane Griffith, the late Tom Freevert, Kelly Hamill, Danette Herkert, Denise Tex, Cheryl Ashburn, and I'm sure I'm missing people. Without your selfless efforts, we could not have done what we did. You made dreams real. You had to do the dirty work. And finally, the parents. You traveled everywhere. You supported everything. And you really fueled this crazy ride. You gave us more than you'll ever know. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Chatham Glenwood. You've heard us talk about that, right? Chatham was the team to beat, year in and year out. In the Central State 8, they were the top. They were the pinnacle of wrestling. And at that time, a little rivalry was building and was pretty intense during these years with us and them. You know, the storylines of the rivalry were exactly like a movie script. You had two teams who believed highly in themselves, and they disliked each other very much. You sprinkle in a little bit of controversy that we kind of had with them in previous years, and you got the perfect making of a Hollywood script. And I'll never forget the night in this season when we marched into their dark, blacked out gymnasium. They purposely turned the lights out in the gym, and that day they hung a spotlight, and they were bringing that thing out for us. And we absolutely wrecked them. Yep, that's a good place for applause. We beat them so bad, I'm pretty sure we set their program back 5 years.
One kid cried when he left.
Well, yeah. The salty little kids that night. Springfield High, they saw the carnage of that day, and you know what they did? The Springfield coaches would love me hearing saying this, and I hope they hear this someday. They decided to not even weigh in their starters that season later in the year, and they just kind of waved a white flag. I like to think of it that way anyway. So, Nick has the best outfit on of the night. That was a shirt from that year. Nick, will you show that shirt? Yeah, no quit. No quit wasn't just a motto. It's who we were. I remember walking into every tournament knowing we were going to win this thing. Our lineup was a nightmare. From bottom to top. No easy matches, as you heard Don say. And nobody wanted a Taylorville kid on their side of the bracket. And then the sectional win against Cahokia in Bloomington, the night we punched our ticket to state. We needed Brock Letcher, our leader and our rock. You know what his job was that night? He drew David Frazier from Cahokia. David Frazier was a two-time state runner-up in Brock's weight class. Brock's job that night was to not get pinned by their state finalists. And Brock, the good old Taylorville boy, he held his ground. And truthfully, he saved the duel. He saved our season. He didn't get pinned. And you know what? He almost beat that kid. We were close. Then there's Aaron Herkert. Aaron's not here with us tonight, but I'll always remember this. He was down late in the match, reaches back, which you're never supposed to do in wrestling. And he grabbed that kid, threw a headlock, and he flipped the entire duel upside down. I was so excited, I ran down the edge of the bench, I tackled Troy. I ripped the crotch out of my dress pants and I broke my glasses. I didn't have a backup pair, and I couldn't see that well for a couple of weeks till the new ones came in. And I'll say that's why we lost to Sycamore. I couldn't see very well the next weekend, so that was my fault. Motions got the best of me. And now with traveling with wrestlers, let's talk about that for a second, okay? I want to talk about that. Worst experience of my life. You truly haven't lived until you've chaperoned or supervised a wrestling team on road trips, okay? Especially overnight ones. Now, I've never actually witnessed most of the stuff that I'm sure you're going to hear more about later, but from the stories I heard, I have to believe them to be true. There's a lot to unpack in most of these situations, so I'll spare most of the intimate details, especially for the post-party afterwards, but I want everyone to know that I have successfully recovered from the emotional trauma from all of you, and I'll provide some brief context as to what I got to deal with as their head coach. So flatulence, both natural and unnatural, like man-made, seemed to be a common annoyance throughout the year. I think there was we had to weld a hotel doorknob back on one time. We were the ones who welded it because we broke it. Someone did something terribly unholy to the top of a toilet once at a resort in Wisconsin. And I'm not naming names, and then there's this story of sneaking out and jumping into rivers in, someplace in Wisconsin. So then we can't ever forget about sleeping in on the day of the state championships and missing the bus. That wasn't stressful at all, okay? And won't forget the forcible tattoo exposure. We had an incident, they talked about hazing. Most of the hazing happened from the players to the coaches. And one unlucky assistant coach was victim of, not just me, of the entire team. They were the alleged assailants. For legal reasons, because we have multiple lawyers up here now, I have to be careful with victim identity, and we need to remain that as protected. But lots of great stories. And in all seriousness, it was beautiful. The road trips, the practices, the brotherhood. You all, this 2012-2013 team, you understood the real secret. We are stronger together. I know I made a lot of mistakes as a young head coach, and I was learning a lot along the way. But I want you to know this. I am so grateful to God for Him allowing me to coach you. You taught me more than you'll ever know. And the lessons you lived back then that you talk about today, I still teach them today, albeit a little bit better. And I want you to know that I still teach these lessons because the world needs more leaders like you all. Hardworking, accountable, loving, unselfish. These are men built for other people. It is one of the greatest honors of my life to share this stage with you tonight. I love you all. I'm proud of you all. And thank you for letting me be a small part of your journey. Now, you go enjoy the night responsibly. And make sure, like always, you take care of each other. And for the record, no new tattoos tonight without legal counsel present. Thank you. God bless. And real quick, I want to make a shout out. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. We got two individuals that could not be here. They've been with us all night. We got Preston Lindsay. He is stationed in Kuwait. Is that correct, sir?
Middle East.
Yep, in the Middle East. He's on a deployment. We have David Cruikshank. He's in Hawaii. Getting a suntan. Got a nice hula shirt on. I like that. Thank you, David. We're glad they could be with us tonight. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Preston, for your service.
They're both captains.
On behalf of the entire committee, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I think this whole group deserves another big round of applause. And now, on behalf of David Hicksonbaugh and Matt Hutchison, hope that you've all enjoyed the evening. Have a great time tonight. Be safe. And we hope we'll see you all again next year. Thank you very much.
Good job, guys.